Peace, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of CHUCG TALK, your favorite payday show. I'm Brother Lee. This is Brother Eric. I'm happy to see y'all again. Beautiful day, beautiful Friday. We actually had lost some weight because nobody sent us lunch, but we won't complain about that today.
I am. You not.
I'm trying to save whatever energy I got left.
Oh, okay.
But it's all good. It's all good. So today we're gonna talk about cultures and movement. What does it look like? How do you build it? But drum roll. Before we start, Brother Eric is gonna start us off with our joke of the day.
Oh, that wasn't part of the script, bro.
That was a part of the script.
It is?
It's a part of the script right there in the script.
That's crazy. Hold on.
It say all right, joke of the day on this. Never mind.
I got one.
Try it.
Boom. What did the cow say when she walked up to the owner of the steakhouse?
Cow. So the owner of a steakhouse. So first thing first, this can't be good because a cow, steakhouse owner, generally you don't see them having a drink together at all.
Right.
She said, "Move."
That's hilarious. No, she didn't. That's actually really good. No, she said, "I got a bone to pick with you." Get it? A bone? Bone, like bone check. All right, so that was a joke of the day.
That's how he says it. That's how he says it, yo.
Got a bone to pick.
Emphasis
You
on
get
it.
it? T-bone.
You gotta see
All
the
right,
emphasis
T-bone.
on it.
Time out.
I got a bone.
All right. Boom. I got a bone to pick with you. Don't on the steakhouse. If you don't want no smoke.
I got a bone. Oh my god.
Oh man, that's funny.
That's by far. That might have been the highlight. That's hilarious. I'm telling you, if I'm laughing by myself right now, I'm having a real issue with it.
I know.
Because that's actually really. I
Appreciate it.
We ain't even go.
Hey, so let me ask you a question, bro.
Ask away, bro.
So, if we talking about culture, is it cool to give a little shout out real quick?
Absolutely.
So I don't know if people would notice we decked out, you know what I'm saying, today we're gonna talk about culture, right? Like every movement gotta have music, every movement gotta have gear. You look at Black Panther Party, whatever.
It's essential, yeah.
And so, and also when you think about it, we gotta be able to talk about, not just fashion, but also supporting our people. Like liberation also has to do with building up, you know what I'm saying, a small business.
Yeah.
So with that being said, man, I'm rocking some gear from my man Rich Mike. Has a clothing brand, Rich, raised in Cherry Hill. As you can see, I'm over here looking like Doughboy. But I'm just EJ from Cherry Hill, and as you can see, I love Cherry Hill. Shout out to my man Rich, and for the organization he had, Restoring Inner City Hope, building up and bigging up culture.
Yeah. Well, for sure. Hey, real quick, so let me gotta show some love to my guy, Yesterday Kid, man. He actually super innovative, super creative brother. Known him for quite some time, man, and he has a new clothing line out. It's called Forgive Me for Yesterday. You might see some of the Yesterday hoodies. You might see some of the Forgive Me hats. But all some dope stuff, man. I'm always gonna be the first on this line whenever something come out. I promise you that. But it's also because I really love all the gear. So yeah, super excited. Follow the brother on Instagram, Yesterday Kid, and keep up. I hope to see y'all with something. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't gonna have what I got, but I hope to see y'all with something.
Yeah. Culture for the culture.
Showing up, man.
Hey, I'm excited about this topic, bro.
I am too, bro. I'm excited we got to dress down, yo.
Yeah, a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little hot right now, but I'm glad. Yeah. Well, I ain't talking about temperature. I'm hot on I'm talking about I'm hot off the press.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's 78 in here.
No, I actually was talking about the temperature, but I'm hot off the press.
Just don't sweat on camera because we sweat on camera.
Don't sweat me because
we don't want the lens to
don't
fog
sweat
up.
me.
I get it. I got it.
All right, okay. All right. Next joke. All right.
No, so real quick, y'all. No, I take that back. Not real quick, but let's jump into it. We talked about culture, right?
Yeah.
And I would love to hear everybody's perspective and opinions on culture. So please share that. Dive into whatever comments you can on Instagram, DMs, YouTube, whatever it is. Share your comments on what culture is and what it means to you.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and share ours if you don't mind. What do you want to start? I can start. I don't mind starting.
It's up to you. Man.
Yeah, I can start. So I think, and this is just personal perspective and opinion, if you will.
Yeah.
But culture, as I've always known it, is the thing that resonates with your community, your society, or those who you all are connected to and which you're connected through. I think it's a thing that evolves over time consistently, and that's meant to be evolved. But I also think it's a thing that it's almost your voiceover for every part of whatever your community has been through. You see what I'm saying? Because it's almost like if you watch a movie or a documentary, right? You get the cartoons and then you get the voiceover, right? And the voiceover allows you to have that piece.
Yeah.
But what culture does, if we jump into, any kind of culture we think about, understanding movie culture, right? You have to understand what the culture was over time, and that gives you the context and the narrative.
Sure.
So I think culture is not just the thing that we're participating in; it's the thing that we also are archiving. It's the thing that folks are learning from every day. So it's a lot that goes into it. I think we all have roles to play in it. I think we all have responsibilities and obligations. And I think we all should have consequences for not showing up how we should in those roles as well. But culture, man, culture is one of those things that's going to represent you, whether you, before, when you're here, and when you become an ancestor. So
that's strong, bro. I really love that. That's like quotable, yo. Culture is your voiceover, right? Because that's ultimately, if you think about people, man, like, yo, like, culture as the voiceover, it's the backdrop. It connects everything.
Absolutely.
And just like culture connects people, right?
And time too. That's the major piece.
That's strong. I mean, y'all already know what role we play, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the technical joint, you know what I'm saying? But when you think about culture, right? Culture being the customs, norms, artifacts, and other social social behaviors that are inherited from one generation to the next, right, that connect people in the meantime, but it's something that's built. And I think that as a technical definition, if you will, or my understanding of the technical definition, people often forsake, in my opinion, how important culture is to building up, or just how we see the world. You feel me? Like, it's our language, it's how we dress, it's how we talk, it's the food we make. It's the artifacts, it's our flags, it's it's everything. It's what shapes our behavior.
Absolutely.
And so, like, for me, when I think about culture, especially as it relates to movements, I think that it's important that, like, when we thinking about building culture or building movements, we also have to, in a nutshell, be about building culture and pushing against a culture that impedes on what you're trying to get. So, for example, the way that I talk about it, quick plug, check out Baltimore's Strange Fruit, which is a film that we made back in 2018 that's been out for 2 years now. Check it out, bemorestrangefruit.com. And in that film, one of the things that I talk about is, like, building culture, right? Like, you have to be intentional about the culture and the norms that's a part of your group and a part of your effort, because essentially, if you're building a movement toward liberation, but you have culture that is not liberatory, then you can't get the liberation. Like, your culture has to meet the goal of your, you know what I'm saying, of your work, of your movement. And so that's what I think about culture, man. And it's something else that I'd like to share before we move on.
Absolutely.
It's really just this idea, bro, that, like, we take for granted that as human beings and as culture is a social invention, or as people call a social construct. You can create culture. And people do create culture. So it's like, if you find yourself being impacted by white supremacy, by white folks, and how white folks have developed culture for us, create your own. Or find out from historical examples.
There you go.
And modify it for the 21st century. Like, that's what it is. It's not that black people don't have culture, but to be an African in 1465, to be an African in 1965, and to be an African in 2020 is different.
So different.
You feel me? And being an African in Zimbabwe, being an African in Brazil, being an African, you know what I mean, in Australia, or being an African right here in Baltimore City, it looks different, right? So then, with that being said, we got the right to create culture for where we are. And that's one of the best things that you can do, because as you talked about it being a voiceover, Dr. Marimba Ani, please look at her works on YouTube, Marimba Ani. She also said culture is like the immune system of a people. It's the defense of a people. It's the first thing that you actually do to fight off foreign things. And if you don't have it, then you're susceptible to disease. So culture is essential. It's essential to a people, so it's essential to movement.
That's interesting, man. Whew, that gave me chills. I mean, I'm actually, y'all can't see it, of course. But no, that's powerful. I had something, man. No, seriously, man, that's powerful. I'm trying to think about. I'm sorry. Forgive me, y'all. One of the things I did want to ask though. Okay. So I'm getting back now. So one of the things that jumped out to me, what you talked about, and to kind of sum it up, if you will, was very clear is that like we have responsibilities to create culture, of course, for those who come after us, but it's also responsibility of the shoulders that we stand on. But I'm also very clear that in the event that we stray away from that idea and that understanding of what our job is and our role is, it's not, we don't move through the world cultureless.
Yeah,
somebody gonna give you something.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
That's the issue that we have.
There you go.
Right? It's one of the issues. It's like, how are we intentionally building culture? What does culture look like across all of these grids? And also, what does sustainable culture look like? What does it look like to sustain culture? You know what I mean? Understanding that it can't be permanent, right? Yeah. Understanding that it's going to evolve and change. Right. But how does sustainability fall through? And I think the major piece with that is what you said is understanding why culture, understanding what's connected to it, right? And I think that's where that sense of pride comes in of like, this is the way, this is us, this is what makes us us, this is how we move, this is our voiceover to our people, our community, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think about sustainability in a way of almost, honestly, I hate to be so quick to steal it, but the immune system. Yeah. You talk about protection, like that is by far the most just blatant understanding of what that means, like what it means to have it and what it means to protect it. Because I guarantee you, anybody looking into this lens right now, hopefully, anybody looking to the lens understands the immune system ain't nothing to play with.
No, it's not strong.
And you know it takes one little thing to be off.
Oh, absolutely.
You can be the healthiest horse in the world.
Absolutely.
One little thing, and it takes for one little medium, one little thing not to be functioning well or playing its role.
Absolutely.
And then boom, it'll destroy the whole thing.
Yes, sir. So you know I mean, especially in the time with COVID, that's got to resonate with people. Absolutely. Right? But here's the thing. If we keep with that analogy of the immune system, there are things that you can do to build the immune system, right? So there are holistic things that you can do that come from the earth. Make sure your body's getting the things that it needs in terms of food, getting the proper rest, making sure that, and part of that, what I would consider the practice of taking care of your body and building the immune system is the same thing as practicing culture, right? Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can't expect to have culture be strong in the people if you don't practice it, right? And if you don't give the culture all the fire you need, because like you said, man, that's something that I often talk about is that like, people not gonna walk around cultureless. Absolutely. Groups of people, or the independent person within the group are social beings. Yeah. We need to have social things to govern our movement, to govern and movement in this context, I'm talking about our behavior and how we move. I really love that idea of like, man, it's the voiceover. Right. And so like, what is that voice? Right. Sometimes it's transmitted through the media. What do they say? And then we get these things, and it's transmitted through imperialistic means. And for example, as we talk about food, one of the aspects of food apartheid that I always talk about, man, is just like this idea that it's not just the material things that you can see off the top. You can say food apartheid exists in communities that don't have healthy food, that have limited access to greens, right, culturally appropriate food. That's stuff you can see. But what are the immaterial things? And you think about the transmission of other people's culture, or you get in your culture through the other people's hands. So for example, like, food apartheid is so deep in terms of psychology. When we have just a normal physiological response like hunger, we think consumerism. I'm hungry, so now I think about how can I go buy something from somebody else. That by itself is a defeating thing, right? We've been socialized to believe that when I get hungry, I got to think about a grocery store, a restaurant, or whatever, and not necessarily going in our backyards to get it from our garden or whatever. Right. And part of that has to do with just political power and all. But then on the part of that, like, if another part of food apartheid is that, our culture keepers, our elders, pass on, die, whatever word we want to use, prematurely. If they're the culture givers to share with the next generation, Where the culture gonna come
There you
from?
go.
So McDonald's giving you your food culture.
There you go.
You feel me? Or other corporations are
Right.
giving you your food culture. That's just the nature of things. You feel me? So when you think about that, like that's it. That's
Yeah.
what it come down to.
Yeah, man, something popped in my mind, man, when you were saying that, and I think what you said was powerful. And we talked about, like you said, nobody's going to walk around cultureless, right? But I think when you think about it, you have this understanding of that. I'm sorry, I'm losing my thought again. You have this understanding. Forgive me. Give me a second. You have this understanding of okay. So you have this understanding of culture, right? And we talked about how it can be transmitted, how it can be. You know what I mean? It could even be built. It could even be created. It can be suppressed. It can be all these things. But I would even move forward to argue and say it can't be destroyed. Yeah. I don't think you can destroy culture. I think you can move folks away from practicing it, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think that's the closest you get to culture being dismantled.
Yes, sir.
But it's very clear that once culture is kind of woven into whatever cloth of history there is, in whatever community and society, I think there's an understanding that like some cultures will have to be undone versus destroyed. And undone is the pretty much reverse practice of whatever the culture was that was being practiced. Because like I said, you can't, that culture is always going to exist. There was always a culture of folks moving or doing things in this way or operating in this way. And I say that for food apartheid, or I say it to roll off your food apartheid statement, is being clear that like we always talk about it. But the issue isn't choice, right?
Yeah.
The issue is not knowing that we have one.
There you go.
Right? It's not that we're picking wrong. We don't know we can pick, right? So when you think about that, that the culture has always been, like you said, McDonald's, right? The culture has always been convenience food in this country.
At least for us, yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Especially for us. The culture has always been convenience food in the country. The culture in black community has always been learning how to eat foods or make foods that aren't even cultural to us. Yeah. There's always been, or settling for what they say is our culture, what they say belongs into the black communities, right?
So giving soul food by other people.
There you go, right?
Name it out by other people.
Right. So now you have Asian folks operating soul foods inside of black community. You know what I mean?
But even before that, the idea of
right?
soul food, that's not our food.
Right, exactly.
Soul food, chitlins, this thing with meat and all of these things,
right.
And these were things that our ancestors had to eat out of like survival.
Sweet potatoes, marshmallows.
But when we think about it, truly, our food, sorghum, rice, groundnuts, these are things that like when you think about millet, you think about all these different things that like including other meats like goat and stuff like that. But when our ancestors came off of slave ships, they had these things in there, like braided in their hair. Right. And like, these are our foods. Right. You get what I'm saying? Right. So when we talk about soul foods that feed the soul, we gotta get closer to those things that like Dr. Sebi be talking about what actually feeds the soul and what feeds the body from where we come from. And that's why I argue actually, bro, that like we were cut off from our culture and food apartheid happened at the point that African peoples were moved as commodity from the different places where we come from, man. And anything less than that has been about creating cultures of resilience rather than practicing our own. You know what I mean? Like that. That's so powerful. That for me, man. Like,
you can only get this. You can only get the scenario of black and brown folks in this country, whether it's food apartheid, racism, any systems, all the systems, if you will, in this country that are built for one community, if you will, or built to be against black and brown folks. Yeah. But I understand, or I think what my understanding is that like you have to completely sever, connections to culture. To force folks into something new. Because folks need something to hold on to.
That's how you dehumanize people.
Exactly. So that was the next language I was like, no, that's perfect. But that was my language. But that's the understanding of dehumanization. That's how you move someone from feeling like something that they're connected to, humanized, if you will, to telling them or enforcing that they will be and should be, and their families and generations after that will be connected inside of this vehicle that you created. And you know what I mean? You say it go. And this is the last thing I say, bro. And this is about power, because I know we have to wind down. But in the book Blueprint for Black Power by Dr. Amos Wilson, he said something in the very beginning of it when he was talking about power. He said, when you don't have power, you feel lifeless. Right? He said, when you don't have power, you feel lifeless. He said, to have power is to feel like you're living. And he said, the reason is what we just talked about is because of the choice. Because it's like when you're powerless, you take what's given. Yeah. You feel alive when you get to pick.
And you can be fully yourself.
Right. Man.
With like that. So then we have to say that a part of building power has to be building culture,
Right.
refining culture. When we talked last episode, we talked about Maroons that created cultures
Exactly.
from different people who came together about survival, right? So with that being said, for me, like that's why at the root of Black Youth Institute's work, it's not just about making sure that people have good food. It's not just about making sure that we're growing food from Black hands,
Right.
but it's about building and practicing culture, a culture of liberation that lends from the African diaspora at large, right? So
Absolutely.
we might infuse African spiritual practices as well as other cultural practices from throughout the African diaspora as we're learning together, because that's what we need to move us forward.
Absolutely.
It ain't just about putting seeds in the ground.
Yes.
It ain't just about building grocery stores. It ain't just about research, but it's really about practicing who we are. And one thing I always tell my children, bro, like, and I'm saying this to anybody, you practice what you get good at. If you practice liberation, then we can bet our tails off that we'll get there.
Yeah.
Bet your bottom dollar that you'll get to a place of liberation if you're willing to see it and practice it. That's the only way. Like, that's the only way to make it happen.
Become good at you.
You
Become
feel
good
me?
at what you practice at, right?
So
Or you practice what you
what
become
you
good at.
good at. So you
Yeah.
gotta practice where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Bro, you gotta live today as if you were already at the place where you are, where
Absolutely.
you say you're gonna
Man,
be.
that's where the
That's a
live by, man.
universal principle.
Yeah. That's where to live by, man. Hey, this is go.
No, I was just gonna say, man, I know we don't have much time, but I think that it would be important for us to really talk about, thinking about culture, talk about falling to BYI that we've been
absolutely,
doing,
man.
that I think is important for people to know about.
Yeah.
But also, I ain't gonna lie, I want people to be a part of it. And we try and raise some money. So can we talk about that?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So look, falling to BYI, man. This is our fifth. This is BYI's fifth birthday.
We got 5 on it.
We got 5 on it. Everybody caught that?
We got 5 on it.
Yeah. So now, but we have a week full of digital engagement as well as a nice little treat at the end of the week for folks to finally get out and get some fresh air. But we're looking forward to engaging folks, talking about a little about what we do, sharing our food stories, talking about the different initiative areas we operate in. We got a versus battle between some good folks and some good music. We also have...
don't give them the game too much, yo.
Don't give them the game. The last one I was about to...
Well, listen. They can learn more by following the page.
Y'all better go watch
so that
it
they
now.
learn more, but don't give it to them.
Y'all, I was there too. If I'd have hit that last finger, y'all have blew the camera off.
All right, tell them. Go ahead.
Sure?
No, don't tell them.
All right, I'm telling you, playing games, man. Look, so...
All right, go ahead, tell them, bro.
You want me to tell them?
Yeah, go ahead and tell them, bro.
All right. So, November 6th.
Woo!
That's
the last day.
That's the last
That's the day we actually celebrate 5 years.
The one.
Tell them about it. Hold up, bro.
November 6th. November 6th, we are having a blackout silent disco party.
Ooh.
Now, for my peoples who don't know what a silent disco is, I was one of you a little bit over a few months ago.
Sir.
A silent disco is where you get a personal pair of headphones,
Right.
and you are tuned into a station in which, in our case, you will have a choice.
Of 3
I'm not going to tell y'all that because I don't want y'all to get too crazy, but you do have a choice. And trust me, we only do good music on this side.
Yes,
but
about culture.
Talk about culture. That's part of it, baby. That's part of it. But you get yourself a personal pair of headphones. You get to choose out of 3 channels to be a part of. So you'll hear some good tunes. Find your own vibe, but however, everyone around you will also have a personal pair of headphones, and you all really will be partying in silence out loud.
All right, bro. Don't give them too much. Don't give them too much.
I was
Just
gonna
tell
show
them where to come.
I show them.
Tell them where. Don't tell. No, chill. Just tell them where to come.
I was about to show you how to.
So look. He getting too excited. Look, November 6th, right? From November 6th from 7 to 11 at Cherry Hill Urban Community Garden. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss the blackout party. But look, I know I told him to chill, but you gotta know this. We're gonna have glow in the dark.
Wow, you wasn't supposed to tell them that. I wasn't.
It's a blackout. Yeah, they needed to know.
They posted.
All right, November 6th at CHUCG. I'm telling you, follow the page.
Absolutely.
You gotta know what's happening. Help us celebrate 5 years. Help us raise money for our organization. All of the stuff that we do can't be done without change, right? Because change costs, right? Change costs, shorty. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and the other thing is, you gotta get your ticket now.
ASAP.
50 tickets or 50. Like,
Only 50?
No. Let me see. We got 100 tickets. Only 50 slots for people on the farm. The other 50 are for folks who are like, yo, I ain't trying to be with that COVID situation. So, and then you can give to the organization. But I need you to know it's only 50 slots. Get yours right now. And you can follow our page so that you can know how to get into it. November 6th, 7 to 11, 50 spots. Get it in. We got 5 on.
Hey, man, I'm turned up. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Talking about culture, man.
Hey, so look, we're gonna go ahead and close it down. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. You know what I mean? It's all love. It's always gonna be love. Please continue to chime in. Follow us at Black Youth on Instagram, at Black Youth on Twitter, Black Youth Institute on Facebook. Please give us comments, feedback from today's episode. We look forward to chiming in at the next episode. And like always, y'all, peace and love.
See you on the next payday.
Peace and love.